welcome to another edition of Beyond the Bell. It is Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. It is 60 seconds after the bell, which means it is time to go beyond the news, beyond the charts, beyond the bell. Brought to you, as always, by our good friends over at the Blue Sky Trading Company for the clearest path to a live brokerage account. Live trading with Mike every day in the Discord. In this outstanding show, you have no reason to get your education or your brokerage account anywhere else, which, again, getting to a live brokerage account should be your ultimate goal. Blue Sky is one of the only companies out there that really kind of not only embraces that, but promotes it, and their goal is to get you making money and making withdrawals in a live brokerage account. Tell the live sim companies to kiss off and join us over at the Blue Sky Trading Company, bluesky.pro. So, tale of two markets today. It was the best trading of times. It was the worst trading of times. It was, I don't know. I actually never read that book. I probably should have. And, you know, we all quote the best of times, worst of times to how smart to impress, impress people. But I've never read it. But certainly it could have been written about today. One of those days that really is testing of traders in terms of sticking to your setups, believing in your playbooks that you put time, effort, sometimes money in, and again, just trusting what you see and sometimes what you don't see. Before we do that, however, guys, I'm actually emptying the mailbag today. I caught up on some mailbag questions, wrote them all down, so we're going to get to those momentarily. But before we do that, we have to go to the big picture. Okay, so I wanted to pull up the ES here because I think this is a nice, clean chart. Based on what we're looking at, and we'll take a look at the NQ momentarily. And you know what? We're going to bring this down here. We're going to adjust this because you see that this is becoming now an area. Previous support becomes resistance, right? Again, I literally say this every day on this show. So if you don't know this by now, I don't know what to tell you. So we clearly had an area of support in here, kind of a double bottom, and the support confirmed how, right? By pushing up to new all-time highs. And we came back through. Now, this did not hold this support through here. Obviously, we really broke very strongly right through there. But it is now acting as resistance. Okay? So what was at one time support is now acting as resistance. Previous resistance becomes support. Previous support becomes resistance. Happens. Nothing is 100% in this business, of course, right? If there was something at 100%, you wouldn't be watching the show. I wouldn't be doing the show. We'd be out trading that 100% statistical anomaly, right? But in this situation, guys, it happens a lot more than you think, right? Look, this is prior resistance, became support over the course of the past couple of sessions. Now, I'm not saying we go back months or years, but any price action, guys, typically within the last 30 days or about the last 45 days, in my experience, tends to be the most important when we're looking at key levels. Now, of course, in something like the ES, 5,000, 5,100, 52, 55, you know, in the NQ, it's not necessarily every 100, but certainly every 500 points is very significant as well. And these are the things that it doesn't matter where we are in terms of 6 months ago, a year ago, whatever. But in general, I'm looking for, on a 4-hour chart, macro support and resistance on about the last 30 to 60 days. Okay, so you can see right here, we came down to this 5250 level. So again, sort of the middle, not quite the middle, but definitely part of this area of previous resistance, now support. And we attempted to break out of it yesterday, couldn't really do that. Today we pushed pretty strongly up. Although, you can see this last candle has a very, for those of you that can't see this, if you're watching this on a smaller screen, we've got a buying tail right here that actually went down and tested. So twice today, we tested this lower level of resistance, and twice it was rejected for a higher push up. NQ, very similar action. Okay, and a lot more to talk about here as well. So again, prior resistance becomes support. And up here, we had this steadily declining channel that we've talked about on this show for quite some time, right? And this, we really got between 18,500 and 18,300. Well, I think our range is narrowing now, guys. I actually think the range is established now between about the 300 level and the 450 level. That's okay. It's 150 points. If it bounces back and forth there, we can certainly find some opportunities to trade a little money, but I really like closer to a 200 to 300 point range, and that's pretty much what we had before. So I'm not sure 500 is going to come into play without some sort of change in the underlying fundamentals, right? So I'm going to actually drop this down here to about the 450 level, the lower part of this zone, because I think that's a very, very key area. All right, guys, so as always, this is an interactive show. I usually try to say that at the top, but I don't actually. I have my little notes for the open, and I usually forget to say that. So anyone that has any questions, make sure to reach them out. So Tio asks, is this a daily chart? It's a 4-hour chart. So so here's the thing on time frame charts in futures, guys. I come from the stock world, right? Again, most of you know I cut my teeth in trading in small cap stocks, which if you think the NQ is a monkey on meth, the small cap world it's basically what the crypto world was before the crypto world exploded in the last 5 or 6 years. It's full of very shady characters, very shady companies, and any chance that's, I mean, if somebody, if there's, I mean, I guess this is a good law in general, but any of the people in that space, if they had the opportunity to take the last dollar out of your hand, they would absolutely do so. And I was in that world for about a little over 2 years, and basically after all that time was just a shade above break even. So I decided to get the hell out of that world. But that prepared me very well for my eventual move into futures. And in the stock world, and whether, large caps, small caps, whatever, daily charts are kind of, if you're a swing trader, right, you're operating on a, 3+ day time frame, daily charts are what you decide to trade, right? So I'm looking at a daily chart of whatever, XYZ. I like this chart. I'm looking for this particular area to get in. Then I'll bring it down usually to about a hour chart or a 15-minute chart to find my entry. I'll look for a little more support and resistance on those areas. When it comes to futures, daily charts honestly are kind of a mess, right? Like I could put in all right, there's just not a lot to work with here, right? It gets very, even when I compress this, it's just, again, futures trade near 24 hours a day, so a daily chart just doesn't have the same, for me, I mean, again, I'd be willing to debate somebody on this, but doesn't have the same ability to convey areas of support and resistance, convey some of the big macro areas on the chart. And so honestly, I'm just looking at that on the 4-hour. I don't go out any further than that. I don't look at a daily chart, weekly chart, or anything like that. Futures, again, it's so reflective of the day-to-day markets that I think anything longer than 4 hours, as I just demonstrated, I think you're going to get lost in the noise, and that's going to be pretty difficult. So, Blacklight Gypsy, man, what's up? It's good to see you as always, my friend. One of our regulars. I appreciate that. Yeah, and Reginald, here's the thing, Reginald. You say daily is for you to see. You know what? There's no wrong answer when it comes to time frame on charts. Even if there's a general consensus among certain traders that this is the right time, honestly, if it helps you see a pattern and or trend and or helps you decide on entries and trades, then that's great. Again, it's no different than anything else. Has to be quantifiable, and it has to be something that holds up over multiple years of trading. But again, that's the beautiful part of this business, guys. There's not anything that has a statistical edge and that you have confidence and ability to trade. There's no wrong answers there. Yes, there's general, and we talk about it often on this show, general concepts in trading, especially things like trading psychology, being mentally ready to trade, things like that. But if you find an edge, and again, it's statistically quantifiable, you can demonstrate that there is an edge there over weeks, months, years, then that's fine, right? So. Okay, so we got Riz here today. What's up, good people? What's up, Riz? Nice to see you. Traded gold today. Broke all-time highs again. Yeah. Yeah, today was a weird day for me. I'll get into that momentarily. And actually, for us that trade the indexes, the last couple of the middle part of the day, we're in this routine now, guys, where basically the markets are giving us like one decent move. Or one maybe a flash second or something like that, and if you don't catch it, you're kind of out of luck for the day. That's really been a lot of what the last couple of weeks have been, and that's okay, right? There's gonna be chunks like that. As the bot has said, guys, remember to like this stream. Remember to subscribe if you are not already. And as always, love the bells in the chat. Kept missing entries today. Good to see they worked out, but unfortunately it was only at screen during the chop. Yeah, it's it was that. And I want to zone in on the 5-minute, guys, because I want to specifically tell you. So we had kind of a relatively uneventful opening, right? We were very low ATR, very low standard deviation with just not a lot going on until we got the 9 o'clock PMI data. And I don't, it didn't strike me as anything that should be propelling the markets much higher. But the markets, I think sometimes the markets guys are waiting for an excuse to pop one way or the other. And it's just a matter of one little piece of data which triggers maybe like something like in the NQ triggers a 20-point move. Then the algos get involved, and now it's a 30-point move. Now the big boys are looking at it and say, ooh, that's, I want a little bit of that too. Now it's a 50-point move. You see how this can, and then some buy programs get activated, et cetera, et cetera. And it just gets into a situation where it can be a very snowball effect on at least what we consider to be relatively unimportant news. Now PMI, anything related to price, all that kind of stuff is a little more elevated now because of the inflationary concerns, interest rate concerns, etc. But again, we don't get that deep on that kind of stuff in this show because as technical traders, the fundamentals do matter to us, but the fundamentals always trump the technicals. So when the fundamentals are just completely in control, the technical traders, really, we just need to get out of the way. But that really wasn't the case today. As you saw, as I just talked about on the 4-hour chart, we're really kind of... as I said in yesterday's show, if we opened above 300, and we didn't open above 300, but we got above it very, very quickly because 300 is right about here. So once we started pushing up over 300, my thesis was bullish, right? Now, I'd love to tell you I caught this entire move right here. I absolutely did not, but I have a little hitch on my chart that shows very well. I did catch this after this secondary move. Only one trade for me today, guys. So that's really 5 trades for me on the week. It's a pretty slow week for me. Now I'm pretty green on the week, which is nice, right? If I can maybe, power through 2 more days and find another 3 or 4 trades and get up to where I expect to be at the end of a given week, I'll be happy. But ultimately, guys, there was one really, I called it an A- setup for me today. Now, again, that doesn't, mean that you couldn't have traded, maybe you said I saw 0 trades like me yesterday, guys. I told you on the show I didn't trade at all. Or there's somebody, hey, I saw 5 trades today, took them all, turned out really well. Hey, that's great, right? For me, for my style, for my setups, for my playbooks, I saw one really good opportunity. I took it, made some decent money, and I'm okay with that, right? The only thing that pisses me off as a trader at this stage in my career is when I miss setups, when I miss opportunities that are within my plays and within my ability and mentality to trade. A day like yesterday, it's a little frustrating to sit here for a lot of the day and not have a lot going on, right? But it's ultimately that's about it. Now, guys, I actually missed a lot of this chop because I'm having some work done on the interior of my house, and so it was kind of loud. So I got out of here for a little while. Hard to concentrate with banging hammers and wallpaper tearing and all that good stuff. So just an opportunity to step out for probably as long as I've been away from them. I was away for about 2 hours today. I kept checking my phone just to see, because I was walking around the block. I was doing whatever I needed to do. And I was checking if we get some movement, and I'm not going to trade on my phone. I tell you guys not to do that. I'm not going to do that. But if we began to see a little movement in the markets, I was going to come back and, put on my headphones, see if I could power through some of the noise. Ultimately, just didn't end up doing that. We had this little blip here a little after 3 o'clock Eastern. I'm wondering if that was a Fed speaker, because I do think we had plenty of the Fed people yapping their heads off today. Do we have anything about 2 o'clock? Okay, now that guy's... Now that could be it. Could be Barr. Powell was talking. That would have been a couple hours earlier though. So yeah, I don't know. Just not a whole lot going on. So again, that's just we don't force trades. We just kind of do what we need to do. Okay, let me catch up on the. So first of all, VPN crypto. I'm not Josh. I'm way better looking. But no, and also Josh is the tech guy around here, and so he's probably watching. He probably got a good laugh on that one. But my name's Matt. I don't. I do work with Blue Sky, but I don't. I don't work for Blue Sky. It gives me a little. I'm in the education business, and it gives be able to do this show through Blue Sky's site gives me the opportunity to. Be a little freer with some of the stuff that I talk about, but I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe in them and the mission of what they're doing, trying to get, traders into real brokerage account. But I will pass along your question to him. The evaluation giveaway, guys, we typically, again, I don't know what we're giving away personally until about an hour beforehand. We usually do giveaways on Thursday. They will let me know tomorrow if we're doing one. I will tell you I will do a giveaway tomorrow, whether or not they are doing one. Maybe give away a course pack or two. Those seem to be pretty popular with you guys. I know people that have watched them. I've gotten some good comments, so maybe we'll do that tomorrow. But stay tuned, guys. And there's always the possibility of a flash giveaway on this show. So just that's why you got to show up, right? Okay. Gotta love when Powell speaks. The market clings to every word. Yeah, it really does. One trade today, and that's all you needed. Well, trade up, man. That's great. I'm in exactly the same boat as you. One trade, a little under where I like my day-to-day to be, but still fine. I mean, it's I don't have a mortgage, but it would have been close to a mortgage payment, so I can't complain about that, right? All right. Monday made 30%, was bad. Still made 24%, made 30% again. Okay. Well, without knowing account sizes or anything like that, it's 30% is pretty impressive, but, you got everything in context, right? Apple home robotics news. Yeah, no, Apple can keep their robots the hell out of my house. Listen, we're halfway to the point where Skynet's going to become self-aware here in the next few years. So, this is all probably moot, right? Good question from Mike. Mike, always glad to see you. Do you use alerts or only watch the chart for your setup? I don't use, for trades, I'm watching the charts. Right now, most of my trading setups, like I have a trading setup that's basically I call the VWAP tap, and guys, I like basic, very simple patterns, and then I'm looking at overall market structure and market internals, like ADD, and I'm going to talk about that because that was one of the questions I got to help verify that trade, right? So, I'm coming into VWAP here. I'm looking for a VWAP long, and the ADDs are in extreme long territory. The overall market structure supports a move higher. Okay, I'm taking the trade, right? It's really that simple, and it just comes. I've told you guys on this show many times. You won't hear many people in the education business say this. My strategies work really well for me. Are they the be-all, end-all, or as the old people say, the bee's knees? I never understood that phrase, but we'll put it out there. Probably not. There's probably a lot of people that have setups that are much, much better and more consistent than mine. This is my style of trading, and one of my edges is I'm able to manage trades without a whole lot of emotion. And when a trade's going against me, I have zero problem taking a loss. One personal thing I need to work on is letting my winners run a little longer, and I've mitigated a little bit of that by increasing position size this year, predominantly from 2 to 3 minis. And so I can scale out in thirds, because when I was doing 2, I could only scale out in halves. Now I can scale out in third, and especially if those first 2 contracts get me a nice win, I can let that third one run for an hour. I've yet to do that, but I could in theory, right? So I don't specifically have alerts. Now, Mike, on a day like today, now I said as I got out of the house, but let's say on certain chop days like this, where there's a situation where maybe the market is in a very tight range, very tight consolidation, I will set alerts on my platform, like on, obviously, let's say this little range here, right? And I set these two, and I want to play a breakout, or I don't want to play a breakout, but I'm not interested in anything until we break out or break down from this zone. So I'll set these lines. I'll use TradingView to set an alert on them, and then I'll turn my speakers up pretty loud. So if I'm making lunch in the kitchen, or if I'm upstairs or whatever, if this breaks, I'll hear it. Then I can come back down and be, oh, it's not not a strong break. I don't really need necessarily to worry too much about that. Or, ooh, that's a really nice movement there. Let's see if something develops, right? Yeah, Roomba again, and it's all. Actually, that's one I'll do. I love my Roomba. I hate vacuuming, especially carpet. So yeah, Roomba's a good investment. Okay. Fact you're able to take a loss without issues. The absolute best trade you can have. Trade to win, don't trade not to lose. Yeah, Black Light Gypsy. That's exactly it. And it takes skill. It takes time to develop that. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. You know, we talked about that with Jared Tendler a couple weeks ago. That Best Loser Wins book is very good as well. Just understanding how to take a loss, when to take a loss, and how to accept a loss. You do that, and you're 3/4 of the way to being a pretty successful trader, right? Once you do that, it's really just find some type of strategy that has an edge and plug and play from there, right? Okay. Yeah, don't lump futures prop firms with Forex prop firms. So honestly, guys, listen, this is on Blue Sky's channel. So obviously I'm an independent contractor. I have no, I enjoy doing this, but I don't need to do this. So I'm here because, again, I like the guys at Blue Sky, get along with them. I like their mission. They're very serious about education, which is obviously something I'm very passionate about as well. But when it comes to keep in mind, most of these Forex prop firms, Forex is a very unregulated space, and especially overseas. So honest to goodness, guys, if you're in North America, I know we have people from all over the world that watch this show, but if you're in North America, and especially if you're in the United States, and you go with a futures firm in the United States, obviously Blue Sky is based out of, they have their offices in Florida, you're going to be, I know the speculate, government regulation, all that crap, but you're going to have a level of protection that you're not going to have sending $300 to, what's the fictional Middle Eastern country they used to use on West Wing all the time, Kumar or something like that, like where, somebody, you don't know who they are. It's a P.O. box across the street, So obviously, here you have, the prop firms deal with licensed brokerages. You have FTC, the Federal Trade Commission that you can, make complaints to if you ever have issues. It's a lot harder for people to get away with stuff here as it is when you're sending money through a wire and a pigeon and a duck to get to, you get what I'm saying, right? So just always listen. Do your research. Look at the reviews. I always, when I go to a restaurant, guys, I look at the reviews. I'll usually ignore the top good reviews and the lowest bad reviews, and just kind of look at what people are saying in the middle. And I think for the most part, you look at Blue Sky, and they'll hold up in that way. So yeah, no, the Forex firms, guys, Forex is a world I've never really ventured into for a lot of reasons, but it's crazy. And I had a friend lose almost $500,000 in the course of 2 months in Forex many years ago, and so that scared the crap out of me, because I was looking at the Forex world, and then I saw that, I'm like, nope, I'm just gonna stay here in options and futures and just be happy with what I got, right? So yeah. Yeah, Narnia. That's it. Yeah. The Forex firm, based in Narnia, run by run by the lion and the witch in the wardrobe. Then you've got a problem there. You guys cracked me up, man. A drawdown, you get the gold star for the day, man. That was a good comment. I appreciate that. All right, guys, we're running out of time, and I do want to get to some of these questions. So we are gonna skip the lesson of the day. We are gonna go right to the trader mailbag here. Get my graphics back up. There we go. So first question: how do you handle low volatility days? And that's from Paul. Well, Paul, honestly, it's because, again, today was the tale of 2 days. We had about an hour plus of really nice price action, and then really most of the day with little to no decent movement and decent price action. I mean, you see on this chart here, we barely got out of the tolerance band for +1 standard deviation. I mean, this started really about, we'll call this 11:45. So basically, this was 2+ hours of nothing. Now, be honest, how many of you people got chopped out of a lot of trades during those 2 hours? Because that's we'll be adding the Narnia exchange soon, but the commissions are really high. Yeah, you have to sacrifice a lion or something like that. I know it's been a long time since I read those books, but yeah, it's the Narnia exchange. That's going to be a running joke in here for a while. You guys can you say you were here when it started. Level 2 data. No, they actually have level 17 data from Narnia. It's but you have to ingest a particular substance to be able to see that, and then you're in a whole different zone. Like the candlesticks come out of the charts and dance around you, right? Really bad slip. Yeah, this show is getting some really bad slippage right now. I'll tell you that. Anyway, anyway, back to Paul's question. How do you handle low volatility days? Well, I just go to Narnia, Paul. That's yeah. It talks to you. Okay, yeah. 4D candles. Yes, 5D. It's smell-o-vision. You know, when you when you make a really bad trade, your monitor actually gives off like dog crap fumes just to let you know how bad you suck. Right. I'm gonna nobody steal that idea. I'm copywriting that. But anyway, so Paul, low volatility days are really, honestly, they're no different than high volatility days for me in that I'm looking for my setups, right? I have certain market conditions and certain patterns that I play. If that happens on a low volatility day, I'm still going to take the trade. Now, maybe a little more careful with it, right? I may actually have a smaller position size just to, so I can wait out some of the chop, but ultimately, I see a setup, I take a setup. Now, yes, there are certain market conditions that, like the ATR, you guys know I'm big on the average true range. In general, if the ATR is below 18, especially if it's below 15 on the NQ, which it was for a large part of today, I'm not trading. I'm not trading, period, at least in the NQ, right? The ES is, the ES is pretty similar. If we get under 3, under 2.5 ATR on the 5-minute, I'm just not trading. Right, so because there's at that point it's just low volatility, light movement, and chop like we said. So yeah, so at that point it's it really just kind of becomes a moot point. Ahmed asked the question: you said this year would be for good trading, and yet the last 2 weeks have really not been. What gives? Well, Ahmed, first of all, this year has been really good trading, and most of you guys know since I've been doing. Basically, back in the fall, I said I think 2024 is going to be an excellent year for day traders. And guys, other than the last 2 weeks, and maybe there was a few days in January, it was a little iffy. It has been. We've gotten some great intraday movement. We've gotten we like big intraday movement because I like to be very precise on my entries. But, especially in the NQ, as much as it bounces around, you can get some slippage of a point or two, or by the time you press the market order button, which I don't typically recommend marketing into trades. Again, if the NQ is going to move 50 points and you get 3 to 4 points of slippage, whether through your error or just the exchange, that's not the end of the world. You're still going to, if you're right on the direction and you have a solid setup, you're still going to be able to make some pretty decent money. All right, so that's kind of what I define as good trading, and we have seen that. I mean, if we go back to, let's go to the 4 hour. I'm really going to have to zoom out here, but if we go back to the beginning of the year, look at this. We started the year down at 17,000. And we've had almost 2,000 points of movement this year, and look at all the up and downs, right? Look at the big up and downs, right? Been a lot of opportunity, a lot of big movement. Yeah, there's been this, right? There's been some of this. That's okay. Look at all the movement on this chart. And granted, not all this happens during regular New York hours, right? This big red candle here happened on yesterday before the markets even opened. But we're seeing movement, and most importantly, guys, the markets are playing nice on a macro level, right? We're moving from resistance to support to resistance, breaking through resistance, making new support, right? It's from a technical perspective, this has been a really good year for trading. So, Ahmed, you're obviously not new to the show because I've been saying that for quite some time, or maybe you just started the last couple of weeks. But it has been a really good chunk of trading this week. But you're always going to get small chunks of time, guys, where the markets just are kind of stupid, right? And we're just kind of in a 2-week period, or at least a week and a half now, where we're post FOMC, but before options expiration. We had the Easter holiday and the Good Friday holiday, so the markets, so we're in a little bit of a meh, little as Lisa Simpson would say, meh, a little bit of that. But honestly, even today, we got a good movement up. There should have been a lot of opportunities. If you're a momentum-based trader, and granted, again, I don't know specifically, what you trade, but if you're a momentum-based trader, there have been opportunities, just maybe not as much as we like, right? Yeah, Blacklight, that's a good one. Hey, Rich, nice to see you. Tiana, always nice to see you as well. All right, guys. So I've got a couple of questions that I'm going to wait till tomorrow on, just in case we need to fill a little time. But tomorrow is Thursday, so just stay tuned as to what that means. But anyway, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Beyond the Bell, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night.